All right, as you yawn, we're back at it again.
We back.
You already hit the light, so I guess we don't get that sound effect this go around.
Well, I could flip it on and flip it off.
If you want.
No.
So glad to have you guys back, you gals
Yes.
and you girl
And
and
you
me guy.
too, guy. Yeah.
It's another late night, another original late night podcast
That's right.
for the people. Um, Hope everybody is doing good. Hope everybody had a great, productive day and week so far. Have you had a very productive day and
Yes.
week
Very much so.
so far?
Yes. And I still got some energy.
Well, I got energy, but I had to put that energy towards getting this, I guess, insight off, and then
Okay, I like that.
towards, I don't know if I can find something productive to do before I lay down, but I ain't gonna lie, the energy is gonna go towards sweet dreams tonight.
All right, well, let's get into it.
But I'm not in a rush though.
To it. For the people.
So how do you feel today?
How do I feel today? Um,
Tonight, but today, like
yeah, yeah,
in a
yeah.
reflective sense, looking back, but
I'm happy because I got some things done today that I wanted to do. Just really put in my energy and actions towards some of the ideas that I have. And I don't know, happy I got some help by yourself.
so not by yourself.
Nope. Um,
You're
yeah,
welcome.
you know,
You're welcome.
some little, you're what? Thank you.
Hmm?
It is a can be challenging sometimes to invite people in on what you have going on, especially when you don't maybe feel like you're doing it perfectly. So it's easy to kind of feel like insecure, even though you need the help. But I'm glad I persevered.
So would you rather invite people in at some point, or would you rather them invite themselves, or the right people, I should say, invite themselves?
I rather both,
You have to pick one, but you
but
can tell me why you say both.
both because I want to have the humility to invite other people in, knowing that I need the help, and I want to be hopefully somebody, I don't know, that is welcoming, thankful, ready to receive, ready to learn from the people who are willing to invite themselves in, even without being asked, putting their energy and thoughts into helping me.
You say willing.
Yeah, or want to.
I would say wisdom. That would be my word if I was describing people inviting themselves in, the right people.
Mhm.
But interesting. So if you had to pick one,
If I had to pick one, wow. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick the right people.
inviting themselves in
Yes.
themselves. Um, True. That's not a bad answer. I mean, if that is happening anyway, I feel like you can be confident that you're probably doing something right, or you probably have something even to offer. I mean, I would think, you know, if I was speaking for myself, if that were the case, not saying nobody ever has invited themselves in the sense that they say, hey, like I want to help you in this way. And I'm not saying we should accept every form of help just because somebody, they might have thought we needed something that we didn't necessarily need or want. But I do feel like, when it's the right people, like sometimes they can see areas of, you know, necessary to like, I don't know, help you in that you can't see on your own. You know what I mean? Or they might be a lot harder for you to like even grow in that area or to manage or hold yourself accountable in those areas. So I don't know. I think it is kind of like a no brainer if somebody, the right person, steps in to like help you. And it's only gonna speed things up. And then on top of that, it's kind of like, I mean, they want to be a part of what you have happening too. So I think that's also humility, like you said with the first one. So I don't know. Just a side thought.
No, absolutely. Sometimes you don't even know what to ask. Like you could ask a generic question, but you're already asking from the place of, I don't know, maybe with some sort of expectation of them kind of agreeing with you.
From what position? When you say you don't know what to ask.
Meaning, sometimes, like, asking, sometimes inviting other people in
Mm,
is hard because you don't even know what you're asking them. You don't even know
true.
what you're asking of them.
True.
Like, what are you could say, like, hey, how do I sound? Um, but sometimes that can be tough because if we have in our minds, like, I already sound this way. So are we looking for them to agree with us or are we welcoming their unbiased opinion or observation?
I think we're doing both with this right now. We're inviting people in, but people probably also are stepping in on their own that we didn't necessarily invite. But either way, it's an open invitation.
Wow.
And we do need some feedback. But
Y'all, we need some feedback.
even if it's in the form of, um, in any form, it don't have to be constructive criticism. It can be, but it can also be answering some of these questions below in the comments. Like, what do you prefer? Would you prefer to invite somebody in if you needed help, or for somebody to just notice that you need help and them kind of step in that way? What would, it's kind of an odd question, but
Yeah.
I think what made me ask it is because like you said you wouldn't necessarily want to ask somebody for something if you weren't confident in it, or
Right.
if you weren't comfortable in that space. But it's like you might not be comfortable, but somebody might notice that you have something to offer. So it's like instead of waiting forever to be comfortable, somebody like says, "Hey, let me help."
Yeah, and
You
that's a
know,
blessing that somebody would be willing to do that.
it is. So anyway, if y'all have any thoughts on that, you can share them. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely.
So,
So, yep, we're not skipping over you. How do you feel? How are you doing?
um, man, I'm a little sleepy, but I'm doing good. I feel like, I've been productive. I've kind of skipped over some things that I need to do, but you know, important things, priorities. But I think I'm still, in some ways, or in many ways, still being productive, still being patient with myself. I'm not beating myself up about it as far as not doing everything like quote unquote perfectly, but I'm still plan on getting things done.
Yeah, got
So
to.
I don't got to. I mean,
You
that's the
right.
funny part.
You right about that.
But I'm going to. Um, but as far as how I just feel in and of itself, the question, answer the question. Yeah, I think I'm just sleepy today. But I'm still feeling like motivated. I'm not saying sleepy on some like I don't want to do nothing. I'm kind of like frustrated sleepy because I don't want to be sleepy
Yeah.
because I do want to kind of do some of the stuff that I've been skipping over. Like like you said, you've been putting your, some energy and action behind your ideas. I want to do the same thing, which I've already, of course, started and done that with many different things, in general, but I want to see some things through. So I got to be consistent. Sometimes I realize when, you take too long of a break or there's too many days of a gap in between.
Yeah.
Like when you get back to it, now you got to spend time like kind of getting back in that space that you were in before.
Yeah.
Whereas if you keep the momentum going, it's just like the creativity gate, if you will, is just open.
Yeah.
And you can continue to just flow with the idea until, it's finished. So it's important to like stick with stuff, and be consistent and not, let things kind of don't keep putting them off. You know, I don't put stuff down forever, but I know sometimes I've definitely been in that place where we can put stuff off to the point where we put it down and then we just think it'll be there until we come back. And it's like, it don't always just work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really do need to, I think you made like a baby reference or example, or somebody you say compare like having a business to having a baby, but I feel like it's the same thing with an idea, or like I'm saying a craft, but whatever you might be working on, like if you don't treat that like you're caring for, you know, a seed and you're not fostering the environment and spending time with it and
Mm-hmm.
you know being consistent, I mean, it's really like bad parenting. Like
Yeah. That's true.
you don't deserve those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else might have taken those ideas to the furthest extent and it could have been $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion idea. And not just in the terms of dollars, but it could have changed lives. It could have. So it's
Mm-hmm.
important that we be consistent when we think we got something, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Because I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not tough to quote unquote get back into the groove
Mm-hmm.
when you put something off for a minute, second, um, and then try to find like the momentum to get back to the thing. It feels kind of like slow feeling to me, like starting over.
Yeah.
And actually, since you're saying that, just has me thinking about the many things that can dilute our momentum. Um, it could be friends, it could be family, it could be any form of a distraction, being on your phone. Like, I think these are all different elements that can kind of try to dilute our momentum. So it is important that we hold on to it, especially if we recognize like we're the ones like diluting our own momentum
Yeah.
in those moments. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the is with the parenting or business baby reference that you made the other day,
Mm-hmm.
you said basically like, there was a lady who was speaking of her business that she was kind of holding on to and she was kind of scared to let other people or too many other people get involved or to give it away and she didn't want to basically say like what.
I mean, she built it. They fired her as
But like
the
she didn't want to give it away though before like all of that, right?
yeah, basically.
But then she did.
When she did and went to the next level.
So basically, with that reference, like, in that same sense, like an idea, sometimes we kind of look at it like, I mean, I think I guess you say what, romanticize about it being a good idea
Oh yeah.
to the extent that we don't even
And
allow ourselves to see so far with that idea.
yeah.
Or for those of us that do, we do like to write stuff down or we do like to, you know, we're so inspired by it that we say, oh, I'm going to do this with that. we make big plans for it, but we don't fill in the details, And to
Mhm.
me, that's kind of equivalent to like with the business baby, what do you call that? Parallel, I guess. It's kind of like, you're not spending enough time with it if you don't put those details down, like, because nobody's saying every idea is to be executed like right away.
Mhm.
Maybe somebody might be saying that. Somebody successful might say that. But I think if you have multiple ideas, I mean, you probably would go with the best one for now, you know, or put that down and put the details down, or maybe you might work on it for 5 days straight, just dreaming about it, envisioning what this thing is. And, maybe you tell somebody who maybe could help you with it or see what somebody thinks that's close to you, whatever. But my point is, like, if you don't, spend that time detailing it out, then whenever you do put it down and you come back, that's really when it's tough. But if you spend as much time as you could and you're like, okay, now I can step back,
Mhm.
it's like your child kind of growing up. You can pull back a little bit, maybe parents jump in and, say if that's true. But I would think, if you spend the right time with that seed, you can step back and trust that, like, when you come back to it, it's not going to be like you were never there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. Just thought that parallel that you kind of gave, that reference, was cool. That the lady said she did end up, yeah, she had put a lot of time in it, so that's why she ended up knowing that she could, I guess, trust letting her business go.
Mhm.
And even though she was scared to do it, like, the business came back around in the form of like somebody else running it, but it was full grown,
Yeah.
bigger than she had ever, envisioned it being. So
Right.
we got to do the same thing with our ideas. Like, and then it can grow into a full grown, maybe business one day.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not a business podcast per se, but
It's the Everything Podcast.
everything that is supposed to be podcast.
Yeah.
It ain't an anything pod.
Definitely not an Anything Podcast.
But yeah,
But yeah, man, we got to put some action, some energy behind our ideas, get them moving. Um,
got any good ideas? Not saying that an idea that you're trying to work on, but like just the idea for them
hmm,
that we can maybe talk about.
an idea for y'all. Wow.
I mean,
That's,
it could be anything. Let's see if we can give them an idea that's worth sharing.
hmm.
First thing that comes to mind, that's mm, mm, mm,
I
mm.
mean, how about just when you think of it, do it? Is that an idea?
It counts
Because
as an
that's a good
idea.
idea. When you think of the thing, just do it.
Do the thing.
It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not saying don't practice, but don't just let the idea pass you by, especially if it's something that you know you've been wanting to do.
So what if it's not something that you can do right away? Like, how would you approach that? Like, how do you stay connected to the idea and not let it, quote unquote, slip away if it's not something you could literally act on right away?
Well, then I think that we got to take the time to break it down. Maybe we're looking at the bigger picture, and to your point, we haven't mapped out the details. So
Mm-hmm.
we're not fully aware of where we can actually start the idea.
Yeah.
If I want to paint a picture, then of course I have in my mind the picture that I want to paint, but maybe I can't get the easel and the big canvas yet, but I can start picking out my colors. I can write down my colors. That doesn't cost me anything.
It's true. Maybe you can sketch a little bit so that you have a little bit of a framework to go off of when
Mm-hmm.
you do get your easel and your paint.
Absolutely. So there are things that we can do to help us stay connected to the idea, and we can expound on those things so that, you know, we can get to the point of the idea of fully manifesting into what we want it to be.
Yeah.
But
Well, don't skip that steps to get to the manifestation. I was gonna say I think that the gathering of, because you kind of said like the details, but gathering details and the materials necessary,
yeah.
because I think sometimes, to your point, we don't take into account, and I kind of learned this from someone else too, and I'm still learning it, but heard it and trying to like apply it now, but we don't take into account everything that it's gonna take. So
Mhm.
you might take into account, you know, easel, paint, colors, but maybe not take into account like how many practice runs should I do before like actually saying this is my final portrait, or you know what I mean? Like, so it might not work that way with everything, but even the practice element, I'll say,
Mhm.
like we don't break it all the way down. If I use a sports example, it's like, you know, whatever type of athlete, somebody may be playing recreational tennis. They haven't played in a while. They want to get out there and play, but instead of like starting to go for jogs, you know, starting to stretch and do some type of lateral movements to get ready, they just think they're about to go start playing on this day. And you didn't really take into account, like, not the fact that you might lose when you show up. It's just recreation, but your body might not appreciate you just going straight out there,
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, even it could be dieting a certain way or whatever, but I'm just saying, not taking into account the gathering of information of everything that we need,
Yeah.
you know. So even if we do start with some details, is it really like you said, is it really an exhaustive list? You know what I mean? Are those details really exhaustive?
Mhm.
I think that's something that we kind of can skip over. And that's why we don't always see things through, such as a great idea that might come.
Yep. Because you feel like you just got um blindsided. Is that the term?
Depends on what you mean.
You just got blindsided by the process
True.
because you didn't take the time to gather the information like you said. So you feel like it's the process kicking your butt, but you didn't even do anything to prepare yourself for the process.
Yeah, that's true. Or do we even always realize that it is the process kicking our butt? Or do we just think we're having like second thoughts about, I don't really want to do this. When like really, maybe that's true. You don't really want to do it, but you don't know why. You
Yeah.
don't really realize like you didn't take into account, to your point, the process.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like whatever. I know we're giving them an idea. This is a form of your idea, but in essence, any idea that comes that we might want to act on, like we got to take into account what we need. And I would say make an exhaustive list of everything. And you're saying like you got to really prepare for the process. So it's really like a pre planning to the pre party. The pre party is really the process,
Yeah.
because we want to just go straight to like manifested idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you skipping steps,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. Because once you're in it, that's now our time to lean into the process,
Yeah.
um, using the information we have to build on it.
Yeah.
And, it still we probably have to gather some more information throughout. But if you just, you know, the just start doesn't just literally mean, I feel like, throw yourself out there.
Yeah.
The just start, like, mentality or phrase is just kind of like, start with where you are and what you can do, but don't be discouraged about the vision that you have to do something. You can do it. Just get your things together, your information, your materials, and start.
The Bible says not to despise small beginning. And I think sometimes people do. We do just start. but then we get thrown off because it doesn't look the way we envisioned it, like right
Exactly.
away, not realizing like it may appear small to you, but this is part of the necessary process
Absolutely.
or a necessary part of the overall process. So, but yeah, just start and don't despise small beginnings.
I like that.
A good idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Thank
simple.
you.
And if it, for anybody that's wearing Nikes, I mean, you got a good reminder every day.
Yeah.
If you're wearing Nikes and don't know what their thing is, like their motto,
Yeah.
you need to go learn Nike's motto and break that down.
Yep. Do something. I'm messing with you.
But yeah, so but yeah, that was good because I mean, I was a witness of you doing that today. Um, she literally had an idea and acted on the idea. Maybe it didn't come today, I don't know, but still, the way that she kind of, the way that you acted on it, impressive.
Thank you.
And we'll see. Maybe she'll share it one of these days. But at the end of the day, we're just saying it doesn't have to be major. It can be anything. Sometimes I have an idea that I need to get gas, and I realize more and more the importance of doing that because if you don't, like you mess around and be on in a bad state of affairs, as some people would say, because you'll be on the side of the road or walking to a gas station with a gas can, and that's not fun. So some ideas you do need to act on, but don't let it be just because you know, foolishly, whatever, didn't listen the last few times or whatever. Like if we can do that in those times, we can do the same thing when it's not just simply out of necessity. And we'll realize like there's a real reward in that. I think our last podcast was about faith, or the last
Yeah.
maybe one before that. But yeah, that was the last one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's like that same thing. Like that's faith. Like not just acting on any and everything, but really, feeling like, oh, okay, this is something I just need to do. You know,
Absolutely.
and this is something I don't need to worry about. Maybe what it looks like or sounds like, or how it may appear to other people, or how I might feel. You know, um, again, if it's something positive, it's from the heart, and you feel like you're being led. Like the spirit is leading you to do it. That's probably worth acting on. Even if it's just taking the first step, it doesn't mean like finished product right away. But
Yeah.
you know, just
Yep.
don't be on the side of the road. You could have been
Exactly.
flying down the highway.
And that's key because I just feel like, that comes to me as a result of if you feel like you're in a rush, let me say this the opposite way. And I think I've said this before, but when you move with purpose, you do not have to be in a rush.
Even
Um,
even late at night.
Even late at night. But if you're in a rush, then to what you're saying, that is where we start foolishly acting on these ideas because now we're acting on ideas from a state of panic mode. And
Or fear,
yep,
essentially.
fear. Mm-hmm. And what what foundation is that to be acting on an idea or you know even sometimes waiting until the last minute to be acting on an idea, and as a result it causes us to rush, or now we have to account for things that we wouldn't have otherwise had to deal with as a result. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nah, that's good. That's why I was joking, but like even late at night, like whether there's a deadline or you want to go to sleep, you're tired, whatever, like you're led to do something and the right energy, the right kind of energy is behind it, like it'll happen how it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But if you are doing it out of fear or out of complaining or,
Mm-hmm.
it can and will probably affect, your output and
Absolutely.
the end result, or even you being able to quote unquote fight through the process. Like imagine if anybody training for anything. Like, I mean, you could be training for a spelling bee, but imagine if you look everywhere. Oh, I don't know how to. These are tough. Like, and you trying to learn these words or the meanings, or, but it could be anything. I mean, if you looked at every task as though it's daunting, it might be, but that's probably gonna affect like your mentality to get through it, get through the training process.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, I see the steep hill, I see the mountain, but I can climb it. I'm gonna go one, you know, whatever you call it when you hit the little metal thing into the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
One of those at a time.
Mhm.
one like on a ladder, one rung at a time. I'm gonna go up one step at a time. Like just having that mindset and being able to live with that, knowing that like again, back to the beginning, just the consistency factor, being able to carry you through,
Yeah.
and faith and just when you begin, knowing that like I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
concern myself so much with like the end result being the thing that I need to see immediately. But obviously, you got to behold the end result in some way because you got to know what you're going for.
Right.
That's what the idea even was. But sometimes the idea, not to go left, but sometimes the idea can come in a small form.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to necessarily think just because it's a small idea that it's not good.
Mhm.
Because God might only just gave you a piece of it.
Yeah.
Because you already know He don't give you the whole thing. You looking at it like a mountain.
Mhm.
So just be sensitive to, be able to like sit with things and write them down and, break them down.
Yep. And when it's time to move, get your energy up and do it.
But you need to be getting energy up before the preparation. But yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
True.
Basically. So yeah, come up with a good idea. Or next time you do come up with a good idea, challenge yourself to, you know, dive into that idea. And if you have a friend or, partner, teacher, somebody, family member, whatever, or even us, if you want to share it with us, you can put it in the comments or message us, email us,
Yeah.
and we'll definitely, we'd love to read that. But just make sure that you take the time, I think, to just like detail things, but at the same time, like, don't take the kind of time that is gonna stop you from taking steps.
Yeah, that's important.
I feel like that's what I hear in what you were saying too.
Yeah. Cuz sometimes you do get to a certain point where you know that it is time to go ahead and take the step. So,
With
like,
whatever you have. Like,
yeah. So, like you said, I mean, definitely we be sensitive to what, you know, feel like our spirit is telling us to do. And if we can more purposefully do that when we're not rushing because we have a clarity of mind when we're doing things.
yeah,
So,
yeah, that was good stuff. I believe. You believe?
I believe.
Do y'all believe? Okay. So I feel like y'all believe.
Mhm.
But yeah, let's believe. Let's believe in these dreams and go have some sweet dreams tonight. I'm gonna be out soon. KO.
Yes. I might find me a snack.
KOD. King of Dreams.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. Leave us some feedback down in the comments and we will be back. I really gotta work on my end.
You gotta know the end from the beginning. Peace.
Peace.